guys, and welcome to New Game Plus. I'm here with Matt, who seems to be too busy to be here.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I'm trying to catch the audience, kind of draw them in, you know.
How's it working for you?
I mean, the Pokemon balls, the catch rates just aren't that good. I mean, maybe, do I have to start throwing berries at the screen or something?
Look, I think there's something you're missing, you know?
I think. But anyway, I mean, how's everything been doing? I mean, you're trying really hard to become a Pokemon master yourself. I mean, how's that going for you?
So good. I'm contemplating quitting my full-time job and pursuing it seriously. I haven't seen the sun in 7 days, and I'm okay with it.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have said something like, I'm going to try to become an esports master. I'm like, I probably believe you a little bit more. Okay? But anyway, moving onwards. I mean, we could talk about Pokemon all the time. I mean, we've got a review coming down a little bit later on down the track. However, we've got some far more interesting content than knowing about our Pokemon exploits.
Yes,
absolutely.
So Jace and Liam had the pleasure of checking out the Japanese Film Festival here in Victoria this week.
I thought it was Dave and Margaret. No,
hey.
move on. Yeah, that's fine.
We're cool with them. We're fresh.
Yes.
And that's going on to the end of December. And they talk about the pleasure they had to explore all the crazy films they got to see there.
Honestly, every single year, Japanese Film Festival just comes bursting out of the gate with some awesome classics.
It's a must-see.
And some new stuff as well. Some really good cult classics as well. Straight from the rising sun, nice and direct, freshly translated, and good and fit for Melburnians, as well as Australians all around the country. So,
bring it on.
Yes, bring it on, absolutely. And we've also got, as you know, and we've kind of spoiled it a little bit because we've got our Pokeballs on television, but Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee as well.
Yes.
So,
our review is so exciting. I can't wait for you guys to see it.
Absolutely. But first off, we're going to divert you all the way to Donald. He's got ourselves a brand new, fresh, on the level with FIFA Ultimate Team. So this has absolutely taken the world by storm. And I guess if you haven't figured it out already, Don will fill you in right now.
Enjoy, guys.
We here on New Game Plus talk about the biggest and perhaps loudest gaming stories like Fortnite's continued success, the world of esports, and the outrage that is Red Dead Redemption 2 not letting you give tummy rubs to dogs. But there is one story that quietly impacts more players than all of these. I speak, of course, of FIFA Ultimate Team. It is the most popular mode in one of the world's most popular games. It and the other EA Sports Ultimate Team modes make over $800 million a year. That is enough to buy 100 million copies of Bend It Like Beckham on Blu-ray, with just enough left over to buy another 14.5 million copies, because Jess's triumph over adversity is just so damn heartwarming. But if you look at Ultimate Team and ask what the fuck that's all about, well, allow me to explain. Ultimate Team is a mode where you create an all-star international soccer team to rise through the divisions. To build your team, you can use player cards that you either trade for or open in Ultimate Team packs. These packs can be purchased with in-game coins or with real money. But here's the thing. It is completely random what you'll open in these packs. Will you open a superstar like Ronaldo? Or will you open piles of middle-of-the-road players like Ronaldo? If it seems a little bit like loot boxes, it's because it is. The FIFA series has been under the scrutiny of Belgian authorities, which called out these packs as being a form of gambling and therefore illegal. You think that this would cause Ultimate Team to collapse like a soccer player hit with the lightest gust of breeze. But while other games identified by Belgium have disabled their loot boxes, FIFA stood its ground, presumably protecting its groin in the process. As a result, it is being investigated by Belgian authorities, and if found guilty, EA may face a fine of €800,000 and 5 years in prison. But I wouldn't advise sending EA to jail. After all, the company literally released a game about escaping from prison. Maybe it was the initial attention from lawmakers that prompted EA to finally start disclosing pack odds with FIFA 19. And unsurprisingly, the odds are heavily stacked in EA's favor. No match fixing required. Take this promotion at the game's launch, ones to watch. The ratings on these cards will dynamically change to match the player's real-world performance, which could make them even better than the regular counterpart. Thanks to EA's odds disclosure, we know that the chances of getting one of these cards is less than 1%. And even if you do get one, it is a 1 in 23 chance of getting the highest rated Cristiano Ronaldo. All up, that is a 0.043% chance. You are more likely to see England win the World Cup again than to open a Ronaldo card. Ronaldo's coming home. That's how the song goes, right? But let's say you don't mind grinding or spending your way through packs. Once you've got a quality team, it is all sunshine goals and nightmare statues from the Devil Realm, right? No way, my devil-faced monstrosity. If you're one of the hardcore players, you will have your eyes set on the FUT Champions Weekend League, the most competitive form of FIFA multiplayer. It offers the best prizes and a chance to qualify for the Ultimate Team Championship Series. But when the Weekend League was introduced, it required that people play 40 matches in a weekend, which could mean up to 15 hours of FIFA in a short amount of time. This is an absurd amount of FIFA. Even FIFA executives keep their corruption to 10 hours in a weekend. Such a compressed amount of high-level competition is not healthy. Samir Albadar, an Australian FIFA pro, posted on Twitter that competing in weekend mode, playing 160 matches in 4 weekends, was harming his personal life. That, quote, 40 games each weekend will definitely take a huge toll on anyone's life. To EA's credit, it has reduced the match count from 40 matches to 30, and it is possible to get something out of Ultimate Team without spending a single cent. But EA is super keen on steering players into Ultimate Team mode. It admitted as such during an earnings call in October. And when someone is in the Ultimate Team mode, they have a 50% chance of spending money. Oh, so when EA stands to benefit, the odds become much more favorable? Huh. There is no doubt that Ultimate Team will continue to be the most played thing in gaming for years to come. And I'll be surprised if there isn't a whiteboard in EA headquarters with the words, "The Sims 4 Ultimate Team?" I just hope that EA uses this power responsibly and considers player welfare as it continues with Ultimate Team, that it doesn't decide to keep demanding its players spend all of their time and money. Don't fuck this one up, EA. And that is everything that has happened in the world, ever.
Now, late November always means one thing for us, and that is the Japanese Film Festival is right around the corner now. In years past, it's been myself and a few others who have been seeing the movies, but it's handy because we actually have a movie guy now, so we thought we'd bring Liam in to discuss the Japanese Film Festival and specifically the films that you've seen in advance of the festival itself.
I mean, I've only been doing the daily movie reviews for 2.5 years, but sure. No, so every year we always go. Melbourne's always the last leg of the trip. So a lot of other cities have already enjoyed it. As you said, it's coming up soon, and we've been very lucky to get a couple of screeners, which I've watched.
And it is, the Japanese Film Festival is an interesting one, because obviously we have, Melbourne's known, it's got MIF, it's got all these zones where they're really well known for having these kind of diverse things, whereas being specifically focused on Japan and a lot of the Japanese produced movies, it really does run the gamut of, like, the amount of range on the different types of movies is just huge when it comes to, and it's still only coming from the one country.
Yeah, even just the 4 that I've seen so far, I've got a few more to watch, and I'm very excited to watch them. Are all quite different films.
So let's cover off a few of them first. So Dynamite Graffiti, an interesting movie about a guy who used to make, I believe it's porno mags in the 70s and 80s?
Yeah, so it's sort of about his life of how he became one of the smut kings of Japan, what led him to go that path, and how it sort of ends up for him.
And obviously we have similar kind of like Larry Flint, things like that in the West, but it is a unique culture, especially when it comes to like adult movies in Japan. So I guess it's a unique take on, or I guess a unique insight, especially if you're not in that scene.
Yeah, they explore sort of what elements of your childhood might lead to that, which is not like...
As creepy as it sounds.
No, it's not like, oh, this person was abused by their uncle, that's why they, you know...
Yeah, it's nothing quite so
It's not like that unfortunate situation. It's a bit more of a slow sort of, not descent, but a slow journey.
Right, okay. And probably the other one that I've heard you speaking about very highly is One Cut of the Dead, which is a Japanese zombie film, which obviously, Japanese zombie films, 2018. But it sounds like it's a rip-roaring time.
Yeah, it's a film set, and they're making a zombie film when the film set is invaded by zombies.
Right.
And it goes from there, and it is fantastic. I haven't quite started compiling my films of the year list, but I know this will easily be in the top 20, if not higher.
Wow, that's a big cool, because you watch a lot of movies, obviously.
I do watch a lot of movies, but yeah, I really, really enjoyed that.
Nice. And again, you mentioned we have a very different kind of thing. This one's a little bit more...
I see what you did there. Yeah.
This one's Sekita, The Show Must Go On, which is, of course, Sekita is the...
The shoot must go on.
The shoot must go on, my bad.
It's in the written.
It is.
We
don't use teleprompters.
Yeah.
Who is, of course, the photographer of the famous David Bowie photo where he does this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm sure there's a name for it, but yeah.
Yeah, so he's a Japanese photographer who did a lot of stuff with Bowie and Iggy Pop. and it's a documentary about his life and career, his relationship with Bowie, and how he's sort of developed his style and changed that over the years. As someone who's a big fan of documentaries, I really enjoyed this. I have watched quite a few music and or photography docos.
Yep.
I think I probably enjoyed this more than like Bill Cunningham, New York.
Right, okay.
But
I mean, I guess the subject matter is a little bit more interesting to you in the fact that you obviously enjoy David Bowie's music, and it's been 2 years now, so yeah.
They sort of reflect on that. I mean, one of the things I like about docos is making you interested in a subject you might not have been interested in before. So while there is obviously the Bowie angle, I wouldn't have sought out information about even if he is iconic, a random Japanese photographer.
Rounding it out, the last one that you've mentioned you've seen is the Chrysanthemum and the Guillotine, which is set after the 1924. I can't remember which earthquake it is.
One of the earthquakes. It follows two different groups in the wake of this sort of devastation and sort of also post-war World War I Japan. That is a female sumo wrestling troupe who travel around, and then a group of anarchists who are opposing the governments, and how those groups interact. It's like a 3-hour epic.
So it's almost like a mini-series, like.
Yeah, well, not quite that long, and not epic in the scale of like Troy, but like epic in the.
Troy, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, there's like relatable characters in this film.
Gotcha.
But yeah, like it was an interesting watch.
So if any of those sound interesting to you, do not forget to go down and check out the the Japanese Film Festival, the Melbourne leg of the Japanese Film Festival, 22nd of November to the 2nd of December. What's the other one you're looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to seeing as many as I can. We also have a podcast which we're talking more detail about One Cut of the Dead and Sakita, and check out our Facebook page for more daily movie reviews of JFF.
Oh, look at that, didn't even have to do it.
ここね、表向きは浄水場として作られたんだけど、裏ではある実験に使ってたんだって。
ある実験？
人体実験。
撮影は続ける。カメラは止めない。
この噂が本当だったなんて。
最高かよおい。血はもう巻き終わった。
死の呪文を唱えるとそれはよみがえる。それ？
はいカット。ゾンビもので生中継でワンカット
やっていただけますか。
Now, Meg, riddle me this. How do you get Pikachu onto a bus?
Let me think about that. Do you Pokemon?
Right on. Yeah, you got it right in one go.
Yeah.
Now, how do you get Pikachu and Eevee on a Nintendo Switch?
That's a really great question. I don't know the answer to that.
You don't know the answer. Okay, so you don't Pokemon, but you Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee for the Nintendo Switch. How's that?
That's awful.
So now all of our viewers on national television, all these guys are cringing in the background.
Yeah,
Let's do a
really
quick recap. What is Pokemon Let's Go all about?
It's super exciting. Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu. It's a new reimagining of the Pokemon Yellow game. It's a beautiful new chapter to the franchise and essentially brings a whole new experience to casual gamers and a brand new Pokemon audience.
Now, it's a lovely, I guess, recollection of everything that is a Pokemon, but in essence, it's essentially just a reimagining. And when it all comes down to it, it is a fantastic reimagining for people who are just getting into the franchise, especially the younger generation. Like, some of the kids nowadays who are sitting there going like, oh, I've only watched, a couple of episodes of the anime, or I've kind of briefly experienced what Pokemon is all about, because all the older generations can't shut up about it. So, this game isn't essentially a game like Pokemon Sun or the mainline series, or like Alpha Sapphire, where there's a lot of systems, a lot of functions that a lot of kids might get confused about. So this serves as a fantastic entry point into the series, kind of getting you warmed up, dipping your toes in. And I'd say, as far as target audiences go, if that's what Nintendo were going for, they've done a pretty solid job of it.
Now, I'm going to say this is a must-have for anyone that owns a Nintendo Switch, and I know a lot of people that have waited especially to invest in the new hardware, especially for this game. Now, one thing I really love about this is there's a lot of fresh elements that they've integrated through the popular Pokemon Go mobile phone app. And it's really great because now as you explore the worlds, instead of battling every Pokemon that you see as you stumble across them in the parks, you catch them and use your Pokeball that I've got here, and Matt has one too, or just simply just use your Joy-Cons, things
So
like that.
my Charmeleon kit in the Pokeball just keeps shouting at me here. I think he's a bit angry. He's telling me to wrap it up. So with that, I guess a lot of people are really scared about this and a bit skeptical because
That's
they're
right.
like, well,
The gimmicks is real. Nintendo's really big with gimmicks.
And we're not battling Pokemon. We're essentially like, you know, catching them, and you know, it may seem a bit too simplified and a bit dumbed down. I prefer the term simplified and streamlined in this regard.
Yeah.
So when it all comes down to it, you're catching the Pokemon instead of battling them, and it kind of takes all the guesswork out of, like, you know, weakening the Pokemon, throwing the ball.
That's right.
All you need is to know about the catch rate of the Pokeball itself,
Right.
and you know, utilizing a couple of berries that will help sweeten the deal. Again, same interactions and same mechanics involved with Pokemon Go, and the way they interact and integrate it is actually a lot better than I thought they would.
That's great. Essentially, you can transfer your Pokemon from the Pokemon Go mobile game, which is a really cool addition. But my thing is like kind of like the Star Wars Battlefront thing, where if you just can pay for the really great OP DLC from the start instead of earning it, will this affect your experience in the earlier levels? I mean, you were saying to me earlier that if you transfer your Pokemon across from Pokemon Go, you can't have them back on the app.
Yes.
So it's a one-way transfer, which I think is a really big incentive to keep it level playing field.
Yep. My Charmeleon won't shut up, honestly. Okay, continuing onwards. Now, I do kind of agree a little bit with that sentiment that it is a bit of a letdown the way they integrated it, because I can understand where they're coming from, where it's like we're trying not to duplicate legendary Pokemon, or they're trying not to duplicate certain Pokemon with really good IV and stuff, because people would be on that, like, just like katsudon on rice. It would be ridiculous. So when it comes down to it, I'm like, I understand the interactions with that and some of the drawbacks, but also at the same time, it feels a bit too much like a gimmick. They had to remove Safari Zone completely to make way for Go Park, and it feels more like a gimmicky thing of like, I'm only going to do it maybe like twice or 3 times, laugh at it and go, yeah, it's kind of cool, and then never use it again.
There's a great element where you can battle with your friends, like on Wi-Fi or on the land as well, but also trading to your friends too, which is really great because there are exclusive Pokemon in each, so that ones that you can't get straight up in Eevee or Pikachu.
And it does increase incentive to do that. So it's very similar to the mainline games in that sense, where you've got stuff like, you know, well, this person has a Growlithe, and then you pass it over to the Pikachu save, and then vice versa. So again, there's lots of incentives to kind of interact with people, but at the same time, being able to like battle with friends, that's also awesome too. But the one thing that I'm kind of a little bit on the fence about, and I also love, is the Pokemon peripheral as we see here.
Yes.
Now, this one in particular is a motion control for the Switch, so you can either play with the Joy-Con left, the Joy-Con right, the handheld mode, or this. Now, this one is great because you can actually pop a Pokemon on here and take it with you. It's got an inbuilt pedometer, so you can actually get experience, grind berries, get candy, and level up. Really, really awesome. The bad thing about this is, though, is once you put this in TV mode, it basically forces you to use motion controls, and the motion controls are not the best. That's it. So
are they really not accurate?
No. So the thing is with that is that you can throw, and it's really cool. You have to be really deliberate with your throws, but sometimes it kind of goes a little bit weird, especially when you're trying to catch Zubats or Mr. Mimes. It's really, really bad. So I would highly recommend for people who want to play this properly, go into handheld mode. The gyro sensor is far more reliable than the motion controls.
The gyro sensor rocks. Like, I find this, I don't want to use this in public. I'm not really sure about you guys, but like, I'm...
Oh yeah, those nerds. No, I get it. I understand.
Yeah. Essentially, what I really liked about this game is the connections that it really tries to create with the user and the Pokemon in the game. You have obviously Pikachu or Eevee as your pal, like your buddy.
Or I've got a Charmeleon that won't shut up.
Correct, Mundo.
Yes,
and essentially, it's got a lot of elements where you can customize them, give them outfits, cute haircuts, and all by, you know, rubbing their heads like Nintendo style. And it's a lot of emotional connection they've tried to establish there to get the younger audience on board.
And it's definitely endearing. And when it all comes down to it, like brass tacks, they seem to have nailed it fairly significantly with Pokemon Let's Go. It's definitely sure and certain that they weren't going for the competitive angle in this. And if people come in expecting that, then that's essentially their own fault, if for lack of a better term. But for everybody else, for some of the younger generations or people like myself, and I'm going to say the dreaded C word on national television, for the casual audiences who really want to get or dip their toe back into Pokemon, this is probably the best avenue so far to get into it before the next mainline game comes out on the Nintendo Switch.
I agree. This is the longest time I've ever spent with a Pokemon game ever, and I'm addicted to it. It's the perfect... It's the perfect game that I was looking for on the Switch to grind and really never feel like time is passing. I can't recommend it enough, and it's definitely a must-have.
And there you have it, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. Fairly favourable. I don't think it was like the product and what come out. I don't think anyone was expecting the quality that Let's Go actually had.
I agree. I'm obsessed with it. I was really, really happy with the whole pacing of it. Not 1 second did I feel like it was a grind. It was pleasant the whole way through, and I can't wait to get back to it after we finish filming tonight.
Yeah, and it's just the idea of being able to catch Pokemon instead of accidentally critically hitting them and then making them faint. Like, I wanted to catch you, not hurt you.
Exactly, Tia.
A poor little summer child. But aside from that, you've probably heard enough about Pokemon for this episode. I mean, it's absolutely lovely. It's great. But we're talking about, like, I guess, moving on ahead because we're getting close to the end of the year. The inevitable game of the year is fast approaching. It's looming over us like a gigantic cloud on a Melburnian afternoon.
Legit, nice.
Absolutely. And it's crazy because a lot of us don't actually have enough time. Like, obviously, we'll get back to these games that are interesting us, but and it's absolutely intriguing to see that we don't have any of the time, but all these games are coming out, hammering out October, November, even December. Yeah. And we're just trying to think, like, what can you prioritize? Like, what are you going to play so that way it makes your potential Game of the Year list in 2018?
Matt, I feel like you can relate to this as much as I can. It's the bittersweet combination of, like, I need a full-time job to afford games, but I don't have a full-time job, so I can't play them. And I feel like I'm in that stage right now where we played so much cool stuff at PAX, and we have connections with all these really great indie developers, and they've given us all, like, hands-on with all their games. And not only are the smaller titles still worth dabbling into that are on my backlog now, but I've also got things like Spyro and things coming up that I just need to just sit and waste weekends to, like, get into.
Absolutely. Like, I agree with you wholeheartedly, but that's all the time we have on for the show. So, I mean, we could just be here all day, but we've got to wrap this baby up.
Legit.
So, when it all comes down to it, if you want to follow us on all of our social media channels, be sure to hit us up at Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, all under New Game Plus TV.
Don't forget our new Instagram. It's newgameplus.tv.
Yes, and as well, you should be able to check our website out at www.newgameplus.tv. All the latest news, reviews, previews, and everything that you can chuck a stick at is all there.
Super exciting.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks, Matt.
And we will see you next time.
Thanks for watching, guys.